All right, we are back here on the podcast. The annual tradition continues. We are recapping Super Bowl 60 here, and well, it was pretty much a snooze fest for most of this game here. Not as bad as I think our first time we did this. Great Joe Dalwazio is back with us. Joe, welcome. How are you?
There was the Super Bowl was played yesterday or Sunday. What? That game was horrible. That's a Super Bowl?
Yeah, I mean, we've had a couple of clunkers. Famously, the first game I think we talked about after the Super Bowl, I think was the 13-3 Patriot Ram game. Like this one, I think was slightly better than that, but not by much.
Yeah, this was slightly better than that one. Maybe it's just me. Every time you book me, you're guaranteeing a terrible Super Bowl. I mean, maybe you should start talking to your producer over there and being like, maybe let's stop with the Joe D because every time we bring him on, the Super Bowl games are worse and worse. Yeah, this one definitely better than that one, but let me tell you, real snooze fest for most of the game.
Yeah, I mean, there was points I was sitting at my party watching with people like that was at that party I was at. I'm like, and we're sitting here like, is there actually gonna be a touchdown in this game?
Well, it's interesting because I didn't know if this was like old man in the room, like reality flash. Obviously, as you're aware, maybe some of the listeners, right? I'm married, I have a kid, and I'm like, for the first time ever, I'm kind of more into the commercials than ever before, because this game is so horrible and I need something to pay attention to.
And it was a bad crop of commercials too.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think they were anything special by all means, but like for the first time, I'm actually like sitting there listening, watching commercials in way more detail than ever before. And I think a part of that is because the game was so horrible and I wanted something to look into. Now, on the flip side, I've spoken to a lot of people that said, hey, because the game was so bad, I didn't even care about the commercials, and I didn't care that I missed part of the game because it was just boring.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure. Let's talk about this game here because obviously, like, I think the big takeaway for me here is obviously, I think like we witnessed one of the best defensive performances of the Super Bowl we've seen in some time, and like, I'm that Patriot Ram game is kind of an outlier because like both teams really could not move the football whatsoever. But this is a spot here where like New England, the regular season averages 28 points a game, and I get they played nobody in the regular season here, but they saw the Seattle group. They could not do a thing the entire game. And I think basically the two touchdowns they got where Seattle was kind of calling off the dogs a little bit. And even when they had an opportunity to sort of get within striking distance, Seattle, they kind of snuffed it out again.
Yeah, kudos to Seattle and their staff. And that's what made really Seattle such a dominant team all around. I mean, in all phases, special teams. I was reading a statistic and I wasn't aware of this, that the Seattle Seahawks payroll, they have the most expensive special teams unit in the league, right? And when you look at this game and you look at Jason Myers scoring the most points in Super Bowl history, right? Is that it? Right? I think it was the most points in Super Bowl history as a kicker, and just how much he meant to the game, and just being able to execute in every facet. It just really came all together for the Seahawks, and for the Patriots. It was a little bit of a cupcake of a walk if you really look at it. Whether it was a regular season and you're looking at their schedule, whether it's the fact that you end up playing the Denver Broncos and Bo Nix is out, that to cash your ticket to the Super Bowl. I mean, we're talking about a really different game if it was Seahawks Broncos. I think we really missed that on what could have been a good one. But it just was so one-sided the entire way out.
Oh, for sure. And undersung hero of that Super Bowl also has not gotten a lot of praise. Obviously, Myers sets the record for most field goals in the Super Bowl here, but Michael Dixon, the Seahawk punter, like constantly putting New England behind the eight ball, pinning them deep inside the 20 like five, six times. That really like made it hard for them to move the balls. That's when we saw like how much trouble the left side of the New England line was having with the Seahawk pass rush.
Well, that's what I mean. I mean, um between Myers, between the punting. Uh, I know Shaheed didn't have many returns, kick returns, but the one that he did, 20 yards, couple punt returns, average almost 10 yards. Like all of those little things matter. Like flipping the ball in possession and punting is such a crucial part of the game that no one talks about or cares enough about. But when you pin them deep and they can't move the ball, I mean, you're winning that game. You're winning that battlefield position every single time.
Yeah, for sure. I talk about Sam Darnold of it all too. It's obviously not the greatest game for him. Obviously, he had a lot of trouble dealing with the blitz, and he made the plays he needed to make. He throws the one touchdown to AJ Barner, which I played right before you came on here on the audio version of the podcast. But I'll say here, the thing I think that took away from me is that like, yes, he was off a little bit, but like in the past, we've seen Darnold in these spots just make like mistake after mistake after mistake when he's harassed. And the fact here, he didn't win the game for them, but unlike what we saw with Drake May, he not lose the game for Seattle. He kept them on schedule pretty much and like let them just, add points, add points, add points, make it harder.
Yeah, I mean, I want to know the sicko that had anytime touchdown AJ Barner on their bingo card at the Super Bowl party. But that's besides the point. But getting to Sam Darnold, I mean, you didn't need him to be spectacular. What you needed him to do was not play a horrible game. You needed him to not turn the ball over, and you needed him to just manage as much as he could manage. And if he makes some plays, great. The Seahawks won with what the NFL was built on, a run game and a strong defense. You saw that with Kenneth Walker with 135 on the day. Would have had more to cement that MVP if that holding call didn't get called back. But between the game that Kenneth Walker had, plus the dominance of that defense, you don't need a quarterback to do much. You just don't need him to make mistakes. That's all Sam needed to do.
Yeah, it did here. It's crazy thinking of that a Ballyhoo 2018 draft class with Baker in there, with Lamar Jackson, with Josh Allen. He's the first of that group to win a Super Bowl, which is pretty crazy to think about.
Yeah, I would have never thought of that between the career trajectory that he's had. But I got to say, if you're a Vikings fan, you're kicking yourself in the rear saying, like, hey, we had this guy right here. We kicked him to the curb because we thought we were ready for the future. And the future doesn't look so bright right now.
Yeah, safe to say, I think Quasi Adolfo-Mensa does not have a job because of that decision.
Yeah, easily. No doubt in my mind.
Yeah, for sure. I think also like I love watching him like go through this when we hear him like as like a Jet fan who like saw him come up and saw how like terribly he did here, like it would have been very easy for him to like take a pot shot like at the Jets at Carolina, be like, yeah, like they couldn't help me. I like that they were a bad spot. Like I needed to get out of there, but like he took the high road every time. He's like, hey, like part of the journey, like I need to experience that to get to where I need to get to. So a lot of credit to Sam for taking the high road there.
Yeah, I mean, and not taking the high road will only get you so far. And for someone like Sam, this may not be the last stop for him, right? He could end up on another team a couple years from now and kind of trying to revive and doing what he's doing. But I think that's more of a testament of if you have the right pieces around you and you have the good coaching, right, you can be a above a good quarterback and still win. I think that's the message here.
Yeah, it's crazy. Look at the stats of the game here. Like Drake May had a higher passer rating than Sam Darnold, even though we could say here Drake May played far worse in the football game than Sam Darnold did.
Yeah, I mean the fact that he threw for more touchdowns and he had to throw for more touchdowns and more yards and because they were behind and trailing throw more. So yeah, but at the same time when you look at Drake May, I think you got a little cold feet. I mean, he's a second year guy. Um, the Patriots finished the season 14-3. Like, yeah, obviously the ultimate goal isn't accomplished, but I mean I know you're a Jets guy and you don't want to hear this, but their future's bright. Their coach isn't going anywhere. You think you have your quarterback. Like, it's normal to show up on the stage and unfortunately not show up. And obviously, the Seahawks defense was just way too much for Drake May. But at the same time, like, this isn't the one and only time we'll see Drake May in a Super Bowl and then in this New England Patriots core. I think they're here for a bit, and you should be encouraged if you're trying to find any type of silver lining. And when it comes to sports, it's either you win or you lose. So I'm not a big silver linings guy, but if you're a Patriots person, a Drake May person, hey, yeah, this one stings, but there's a lot to look forward to, especially the jump that we've made from year one to year two. What's that look like next year?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting spot too for Drake May because this is a situation with the Patriots where like they have this year where everything goes right for them in terms like okay, we have like a tremendously easy schedule. We catch a ton of breaks with the playoffs where we get a Chargers team that's no offensive line. We have CJ Stroud throwing us picks left and right. We have the backup quarterback for the Broncos playing in the game. And then we get a big snowstorm as soon as we get the lead here. Like this is here like where everything got right, and then they got to the big game, got exposed, which I think is something that like it's gonna hang with these guys mentally for a bit, where like, like you think, okay, we got this going again, we got the mojo going, new dynasty coming, and then all of a sudden you just like fall flat in your face. I'm one of the probably the worst Patriot performance in a Super Bowl era for them
Th-
outside '85.
there's a couple ways of thinking of it, right? It's the sometimes you need luck on your side to get us through, and if they had won this Super Bowl, you're probably saying, yeah, that played a role in it. But then sometimes it hits you right in the face, and that's what happened with the Patriots in this one.
Yeah, definitely a rough game for them overall. I mean, like you look at like I think Drake may have sacked the most than any quarterback in postseason history. He's fumbled 7 times in the postseason, including the backbreaker really swung the game to Seattle for good. Like it's one of those things where like, yeah, like you took a big step forward here. You wonder next year with them when they have the tougher schedule, when they're not taking teams off guard anymore. They really need to keep tweaking that roster to sort of enhance like what they built there.
No, without a doubt. The one thing that's just remained consistent though is that coach.
Yeah.
Right. And he's built the culture in the short time that he's been in New England, and he's always been about building culture. So, getting guys to come to New England, keeping guys together, I don't think that's an issue. It's now, okay, how does what we think is or who we think is our franchise quarterback going to develop? Right? Because if he could become one of the top quarterbacks, which, in the league, then you're a step ahead of so many other teams that are still on a season to season basis looking for who that next guy is, or who that guy is rather.
Yeah, a lot of teams still don't know if they have that guy. And like this guy was the runner-up to the MVP for a reason. He played very well in the regular season. So like it's still a matter of okay, we need to get more pieces to help him. And I don't know, like you worry a little bit about the line, like the two young guys on the left side were not up to the moment. That's something I think you keep an eye on as well.
No, of course, but then again, at the same time, a really strong offseason and some time in the lab, and that could be a completely different story. Or if you think it's that bad, then you address that in the offseason, you beef that up, and away we go.
Yeah, that's true here. I want to talk about the Kenneth Walker MVP performance here as well. I believe he's the first running back to win a Super Bowl MVP since Terrell Davis in Super Bowl 32, which is a very long time ago here. And like, it's one of those things you're watching the game. And it's like, he's not in the end zone, but like, he was just like ripping off these chunks here to help Seattle get those early field goals and build that little separation here. Like I think in an ideal world, you would give it to somebody on the defense, but I don't think they had the one guy you could point to say that's the guy who we give it to. But I think like Walker's a fine MVP choice.
Yeah, I think the only other choice for MVP would have been Jason Myers. I mean, there was no other portion. I mean, maybe yeah. I don't think you could have gave it to somebody on the defense because there wasn't one person that like really did something spectacular. I think it was a collective effort of a lot of guys just getting after the quarterback. Couple guys with multiple sacks, but I think when you look at Kenneth Walker's performance, there was a lot of times, especially early in that game, where you may have looked at somebody at your Super Bowl party and said, "Is Kenneth Walker the only guy playing today?"
Yep.
Right? Because whether it was him in the backfield breaking out, I mean, guy averaged 5 yards a carry. But then he was also effective when needed to be, in the pass game too. I know only 2 receptions for 26 yards, but still, like at any point that you needed him to do something positive, for the most part, he got that done.
Yeah, he did get it done. And obviously, like it's very bad look for like me and Tom Bacchino on the Super Bowl betting guy. We're like, yeah, Super Bowl running backs have won the MVP since like the '90s. So like, don't play Kenneth Walker. It's bad on us.
I mean, listen, like it's easy to say that in hindsight, but I mean, could you imagine if Jason Myers would have got the MVP?
I don't think
Right.
there's any world they would ever give a kicker the MVP.
Really? If that game ended 12-7, he's not getting the MVP?
Like I just don't see a world where the writers look at themselves and okay, we're giving a kicker the best like more MVP award for the game. I get
Dude,
it.
I don't know. I really disagree with you. I think we were a lot closer to Jason Myers getting that MVP than we think. Like, if Kenneth Walker has, instead of 135 yards, 100 yards, I kid you not, I think we're having a different conversation today.
Yeah, it
I
would be.
really do. Or if the score ends 15-7, like, and all of your points came from Jason Myers, that would be criminal that he wouldn't get that award.
Yeah, because I'm looking at like the box score for some of these guys here. I mean, like Seattle, like the production was spread out in terms of like the pass catchers. Obviously, JSN missed some time with the injuries in the game here. Like you like I just wonder like then like do they default to like Sam Darnold then or they go with like I was looking at defenses it was like Derek Hall who had the two sacks and the forced fumble that like really swung the games. Like I could have seen him going that way as well.
Yeah, I mean that maybe, but I mean, if you're looking at deserving, you eliminate Jason Myers, you don't win the game.
Yeah.
Like it's that simple. Like he was the most valuable person. He didn't he made all your kicks, right? He gave you your first 12 points. He gave you that lead. Now not a astronomically, but again, you look at that box score, who are you going to give it to? AJ Barner because he had that one touchdown.
Yeah.
Like Sam Darnold didn't play well. He didn't make mistakes, but he didn't do anything crazy. Yeah, you have some arguments on the defensive side that maybe you could give it to a player here and there, but still, I think we were a lot closer to kicker winning the Super Bowl MVP than ever before.
I don't even know if he's on if the kickers are on the board, which would have been interesting if you
I mean, why?
in
I
the
mean, if they're not on the board, that's a crime in itself. Like, why wouldn't they be? They play an integral, they play a huge role in the game.
could have been maybe like the field would have been where you would have gotten Jason Myers then maybe it would have been like something like that.
Maybe. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure, but um, it shouldn't be discredited because without him, or if you miss a couple of those field goals, we're talking about a different game.
Oh yeah,
He
for
goes
sure.
two, he goes 2 for 4 instead of 4 for 4. There's a lot. Or excuse me, instead of 5 for 5, there are a lot of things that we're talking about.
Yeah, for sure. I also want to give a shout out to Mike McDonald, the Seahawk head coach here, who's the first defensive head coach to be calling the plays to win a Super Bowl, which is something that like you would think would have happened before now, but it hasn't. So let's credit to him. And here, like he had a tough road there replacing Pete Carroll with Seattle, who've been there forever, won a Super Bowl. So what he's done in 2 years is remarkable.
Yeah, a lot of expectations, and what he's built is really special. And kudos to him, right? Being so close, and I'm sure everyone heard the story during the Super Bowl, like so close to like stepping away and giving it up to then getting an opportunity and now being a Super Bowl winning head coach. I mean, talk about full circle and like fairy tale ending.
Yeah, that would be a good spot for him. I do think in terms of seeing what happens there. It was also a crazy story to think about, like when you heard the post game story about like how like Maria Taylor from NBC is presenting him with the trophy and like that they like they went to the same high school together and they were like a year apart. That's like a pretty wild story too.
Yeah, coincidence. It's like there's always some underlying story that we're not aware of that becomes that we become aware of, and we're like, what are the odds? Like, how is that even possible?
It's impossible here. And another game angle I'll throw out here is like, what do you think about like Tarico like last night with the first his calling his first Super Bowl because he had a busy night because right after that he goes on the field and is doing the Olympic primetime post game.
Dude, Tarico is a machine. Like, it's as simple as that. Here's a guy that just called the biggest sporting event, arguably the biggest sporting event, to then finish up, stay at the stadium, Olympic coverage, plane to Milan.
Yeah.
Like what? Like can we like think about that for a second? Like just called the Super Bowl, did a great job considering the game was not
Guy.
great.
Yeah, he got a
Exactly.
bad game.
Yeah, he got a bad game, so that's not always an easy one to do, obviously. Does Olympic coverage at the stadium, then leaves, goes coverage for the Olympics live in Italy. Like incredible.
It
Like
is.
honestly speechless.
Yeah.
Like I don't understand how, between like the amount of information and preparation that goes into being a voice on a broadcast to be able to just have that on off switch. To me, that's such a unique talent. I marvel. I'm jealous. I envy that. But Tarico's top notch, man. Top notch.
Yeah, it's a crazy situation too because like those are very different like skill sets to be doing like compared to like play by play for the Super Bowl and like being like the primetime host like, queuing up all the stuff for the Olympics. I know like obviously it's pre-recorded because like of the time difference in Milan, but like that's two very distinct skill sets to like be able to pull off in one night.
But still, it's a different skill set, it's different content, it's different tone. There's so much that we're not thinking about other than the obviously the deliverables and probably the content itself. But like, you're going from something that like everybody was watching to now. Obviously, the Olympics is huge, but like, the average person can't tell you anything about curling. Right, or how figure skating scoring works, but here you are, you're getting thrown right into it with zero break.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not even had time to like go like have a sandwich in between like that. So
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, like,
yeah.
when did this guy eat?
probably
At
like
halftime?
probably halftime.
Right? Did he eat at halftime? Like, I kind of want to ask, like, Tarico, like, what did you eat on the plane? Did you even eat? Like, what did your meals look like that day in getting to Italy? Because, like, I don't know how you have time to even focus on eating with all that preparation around you.
Yeah, for
You're a
me,
true pro.
so he probably ate at halftime and it's like slept on the plane, would be my guess.
I would hope. I
Yeah.
would hope, but I mean, it's incredible. It's really something else.
Yeah, and like I have met Mike Tirico in the past. He is a great guy.
I, I mean, I've never had the opportunity to meet Mike, but I thought he was excellent. I thought he was excellent, and I give him even more praise for the fact that what he had to do after.
Yeah, and are you a big fan of the Olympics after the Super Bowl? Like NBC now has changed up their rotation. Like they want to have the Super Bowl go right to the Olympics every time they have it.
I mean, I think the idea is, hey, look, I want you to stay on NBC's platform. I think as a strategy, it works. It's like the network channel that tells you to stick with us after, American Idol or America's Got Talent, so you could watch the next new sitcom that we're creating, and hopefully it sticks with you, right? I think it's good strategy. A lot of people, and the other thing, and you may have seen this at your Super Bowl party. Sometimes people don't leave right away, but you don't change the channel either.
Yeah,
All right, so now it's on and it's playing and it's counting as a view, and it may engage some of the audience that's there, and you've now attracted a few people that you may not have.
yeah. It's definitely an interesting spot because I know like a lot of the things is now like, oh, like what do you like put on after the Super Bowl to get people to like do you like a lot of the TV friends like do I want the new show? Do I want like something that I've seen to try and get grown audience? The NBC says, okay, we're making it very easy for ourselves. Like the Olympics every 4 years or the Super Bowl every 4 years, we'll line them up so you go right from one to the other and just remind you, hey, stick with us for 2 weeks for all the fun Olympic stuff.
Yeah, and not only that, it's like also yelling like for the global audience that exists, right? Super Bowl is not just, an American audience. So it's like, hey, there's still some more content for you post. And if you weren't so into the Super Bowl and football as a sport, well, hey, by the way, we have the Olympics. Tune in or keep watching.
Yeah, and they made a big deal during the game too about like I saw a couple ads about how like NBC has quietly gotten a bunch of rights for sports on Sunday night, whether it's, they had Sunday night football for years. They started Sunday night basketball, I think the last week. They gotta do that through April, then they get pick up a Sunday night baseball package from ESPN. So like they are Sunday night sports basically year round, which is a
Well, there
really
you go.
like
They're
big
branding themselves as Sunday Night Sports.
yeah.
Right there it is. I mean, if they're not already using "We are the home of Sunday night sports," then you're gonna regret seeing that in commercials and saying, "Hey, that was my idea. I said it on the pod with Joe D."
Oh no, they definitely were on that. They had an ad late in the game about Sunday night sports.
Okay, good, good. I must have missed that one. But just in general, it's just like, yeah, they are creating and making our audience aware that this is the spot. You want to watch sports on Sunday night? That's supposed to be the best matchup of the night or the best matchup of the week. Here's where you come, NBC.
All right, let's wrap up here, like in terms of like the legacy for Seattle here, because obviously now they've won a title, like they've won a brutal division. I feel like this is a weird sort of title for them, where I feel like you're going to be looking back in like a few years and like, oh yeah, Seattle won the Super Bowl that year, like that. Like I feel like it's one of those years where like so much went weird in terms of I think preseason, both them and the Patriots were such long shots to get to the game. I feel like this performance might get forgotten, even though it shouldn't.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, especially when you look at what that division looked like with, the Rams at 12-5, San Francisco 12-5. Um, I think it's one of those years where I think we remember the fact that the playoffs were more wide open than ever. I think we remember that more than we remember the Seahawks winning the Super Bowl, truthfully. if that makes sense, right? We think about what could have been. I think about it, as a Packers fan. Wow, like if a healthy Micah Parsons and closing out the regular season better, what could have been if we hosted a playoff game or we're in the postseason. I think on the flip side, on the AFC, you look at teams like Buffalo, like what could have been if a flag goes the other way. Uh, Teams like Kansas City, if we stayed healthy, what could have been. I think this was wide open, and that was kind of the theme of this postseason. I think that gets remembered a little bit more. But then when we look and we say, "Oh wow, yeah, the Seahawks really did dominate that Super Bowl."
Yeah, there was a phenomenal run for them here. And I do think it took us a while to figure out who the best team was this year. But I think like once around like that game when they beat the Rams on the Thursday night, it sort of became them and never switched off of them the rest of the way.
Yeah, I mean, I think there were still times though that people were like, yeah, they're still beatable because, if Sam Darnold makes mistakes, then you're going to win the game. But I mean, you really saw that talent shine defensively more than anything.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously they're gonna have the kickoff game next year. Do you want the Super Bowl rematch week one? Because that is an option.
I'm good. I don't think I ever want to see that matchup again. That's how brutal this past one was.
Yeah, because they list I think the opponents on the list here, and I don't think they can do Rams or 49ers. I believe that both they're going to Australia week one, if I remember correctly. Like, are you a fan of that? The Australian game early?
I mean, listen, whether I'm a fan of it or not, this is the reality. Like the NFL is international. It's been international. It's only growing. Like we are suckers for consumption of the NFL. So they want to play in Australia, they want to play in name that country. Early, late, people are watching. We're
Yeah,
watching. We're consuming. We're talking about it.
yeah, I would say so here. And here's the list of who else is available for the Seahawks kickoff game here. Let's take the two Australian bound teams out here. Arizona, Dallas, the Giants, the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Bears, and the Patriots. Do you have a preferred opponent out of that group? Do you think they might go to?
I gotta be honest, it's a horrible list.
Yeah,
Horrible list. I wouldn't be surprised if it was the Chiefs.
I think the thing that's scary with the Chiefs is like if Mahomes is not ready, you're throwing out a backup on opening night.
Well, that is a great point. My thought process was Mahomes is ready, and it's like the coming back, right? Like you didn't dethrone the Chiefs, but here was a team that was so dominant. Like, does the dominance reset now for the Chiefs, or are we in a little bit of a rebuild? Um, I think also like I think the Chicago matchup intrigues me a little bit more, based on how well Caleb Williams progressed and how fun that offense looks. So it's like, hey, high-powered offense versus a really powerful defense, like the two-headed monsters, they collide. I don't know.
I think that's the right shot. I think the Bears are the one I would point to out of this group. The
I
Giants hardball angle is interesting, but I don't think it's enough to carry opening night unless they have a significant roster upgrade. I think Chicago, good team, won the division, made the playoffs, young ascending quarterback here, and like I think it's a fun spot to have that kind of game. And I just don't give me the Cowboys again. I'm tired of seeing the Cowboys opening night.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the Cowboys would make sense. In terms of like a national perspective, I get it. America's team, I say that in quotes, because they've been pretty irrelevant. But yeah, the Cowboys or Giants should not be in that game.
Yeah, they shouldn't. Joe, thanks for all the time. Really appreciate it. People want to follow you on social media. How can they do that?
Yeah, Mike, they can give me a shout on Twitter at Joe double underscore DALOISIO.
Absolutely, Joe. Thanks for all the time. Really appreciate it.
Hey, Mike, if you're a little upset, you're a little depressed that now Super Bowl's over, right? I just want to hit you with something real quick. We're 14 days away from the combine, 28 days from free agency, 48 days from the annual league meeting, 73 days to the draft, 93 days away from the projected schedule release, 154 days to training camp, 178 to preseason, and just 213 till the 2026 season kicks off. So we're not that far away.
For the Jets, it's probably still farther away.
Huh, kudos. But well done. Well done.
All right, Joe. I enjoy the off season.
You as well. You as well, Mike. Always a pleasure. Can't wait to be back on next season.